Hello, everyone. This is Scott Freymuller and Shelly Netco. We're back here on The Knot, and today we're going to talk about dating, I think, for the third time. This is our third time on dating.
I believe it is.
And I don't know anyone.
You just won't let it go, will you, Scott?
No, this was your idea to do this. So
actually, it was yours.
Was it mine?
It was yours.
Shit. All right, well, here we go then.
That's
Let's
what
do
I'm saying.
Well, see, the reason why we're doing this, though, is because you date more than anybody I know.
Well, date, let's define date.
Date.
There's
Okay,
go
let's define
out.
date. Go out. You go out
and
more than anybody I know.
To me, dating is I'm dating someone.
Okay, so on the second episode, I don't think we were to 50 dates yet, were we?
No.
Okay, but now we're at what number?
54.
Great. So educate us on the Delta. Let's hear all about it.
What Delta?
No, I just want to hear so how are you meeting these people now?
Online.
Online, okay.
Correct.
And we don't need to know the apps because
No.
everybody's going to search for you online now. But the initially when we first did that dating show,
Yes.
we talked about mental health and we laid down a couple rules, right? Like I had my 5 things, my 5 requirements.
Yes.
And we blew those up.
Yep.
But now I actually have 5 good ones, right? And then you have some.
So what? Your first 5 on your list sucked?
Well, because remember I did financial something.
Yes.
And then we talked about currency.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
That was a great education.
It was.
This whole show is a great education.
I believe
so,
it is.
Yeah. And you know what's cool too is we have good mentors, right? Because Dave Pratt and Rob Trigg been married for how long? Like forever.
40 years.
40 years. Like these guys
Nice.
actually know what to do, right?
Right.
Like they don't have to date because they have their shit together.
Right.
So yeah. So anyways, we can strive for that. We're working there.
Okay.
But so the online thing, we talked about that, and we said, if you're online, you're in lack, and clearly we've changed our mind on that.
Which is not true.
It's not true. No, it's not. And part of this show and just talking through everything is growth, right? And I you know what, I agree with you. I think though there is a time when you need to pull back and recoup and get ready. You know what I'm saying? Like you need some time to yourself sometimes where you just kind of like pull back and chill, figure out who you are, and then you go back in. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But clearly you're in a good spot because you're attracting great people.
Yes, I feel like it.
So
I'm having fun.
yeah, and that's the other thing too is like having fun, right?
Right.
And that was what we talked about with the show too, to have fun in 2022. So
That's true.
all right, so what dating advice can you give? Shelly Netco, life coach, dating
Oh, wow,
coach,
dating
frickin'
advice.
relationship coach. I don't even know what your title is.
I
My
think
God.
it's everything.
There's
it's
a
all,
lot.
It's all that.
Well, they asked what thirds we should put on there, right? And we're like,
Yeah.
we're like, what the fuck?
What's it do?
It'd be like, you're between your website and your Instagram page and all the other
Sure,
crap. Yeah,
mom and
so,
grandma and all that
yeah.
stuff.
Now we got Dave in here, so I got my Whoopi back. He makes
So
me nervous.
I'm going to say dating advice would be, my number one would be use your intuition. Go with your intuition.
Go
Follow
with your
it.
gut.
Go with your gut. And if something doesn't feel right from the beginning, it is not right.
Okay. that's
And
fair.
I actually have had several opportunities to test this in the last few weeks. And I had a conversation with you even, had a conversation with my daughter about one situation. And I kept saying, it just doesn't feel right. And sure enough, there was something that was completely off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And this guy's ex followed us to dinner.
yeah,
So
that'd be a red flag.
That was a
I
little
think
red
that's a problem.
flaggy.
Yeah,
a
that's
little
a problem.
red flaggy.
Problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing that I want to say too is that you don't always attract what you are. I know. Trig's like, what the fuck? Yeah. So
And she didn't pick up the tab
well,
either,
yeah, but
let me tell you.
you don't always attract what you are, right?
No.
Like and that's I think part of the online thing, right? Is because there's not really a connection other than electronically. So there's no energy exchange really.
Right.
It's really detached, and that's one of the difficulties with that online type thing.
Sure.
But we talked about dating one person at a time. Do you have like a whole bench of people waiting to go out with you, or do you just like, how do you do this? Like, give me the deal. You're laughing. Oh shit, this is gonna be good. Well, I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm just saying.
You kind of are.
Am I? Oh, I guess I am putting you on the spot. Why are you wiggling back and forth? in your
No, I'm
chair?
just trying to think. What was your question?
So are you dating one person at a time, or?
No, I'm going out with different people doing different things. But to me, I'm not dating because dating to me is dating someone. So
Okay.
I'm going out with people.
I still
Like
am
sampling a buffet.
like you're sampling the food. That was.
I'm
that was
not sampling the
interesting.
food. I'm at a buffet.
Oh, you're at a buffet. Okay, you're looking at the food. You're not actually sampling the food.
Yes.
Got it. Check. Okay. So the dating deal, I'm
Noted.
still.
That's noted.
I'm still thinking about when I think about me dating. Like if I'm interested in somebody, I just I've been focusing just on that, right?
Right.
And one of the reasons why is when we talk about red flags, we bring this back to mental health instead of joking around all the time, which we're never going to stop joking around. But
No.
but when you bring it back to the mental health perspective, I think you really need to focus on number one, what you want, right? And think of those things, and so you're not just out there like willy nilly. And I know you're not,
Right.
but for a female, there's way more opportunity than there is for a male, I believe. And people say that there's like 3 females to every male in Phoenix, or 4 females to every male in Phoenix?
I don't know. There's like 10 to 1 in Alaska.
Yeah, well, fuck, whatever, right? Like, I'm not moving to Alaska. But
I might.
but,
No, I'm
but you
kidding.
bring this back. Oh my God.
cold.
Here we go. You bring this back to the mental health perspective and what is healthy. And it is like, I do believe that if you're going to date somebody, if you want, if you really want to get to know somebody, I think it's really difficult to have like 2 or 3 other people in the background
Agree.
doing that.
Agree.
Right.
And when I'm super interested in someone, I will do that.
Then it's not like the buffet. Then you go to dinner, and you're at a dinner table.
Right.
Got you. Okay, that's a good thing. So next person you tell me about, like if you go on 2, 3, 4 dates with somebody, I'll be like, oh, so are you at the dinner table now, or are we still at the buffet? And then I'll know
Right.
if you're serious or not.
Yes.
Actually, I'll know when I get to meet them.
True.
Okay, so back to this advice. I'm serious.
Because up till now, when I talk to you and tell you what's going on, you say, "When do I get to meet him?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? Why
I
would I
wanna meet these
introduce you to
people.
this guy?"
I want to see these fucking guys you're dating. Like, I never see them. Like, why wouldn't I want to see? Holy shit. Like, are they fucking real? Or like, what? I'm like, who are these 54 people? I'm just kidding. No, I know. Well, I know you're in love or whatever. It's serious if I meet him. But
Right.
so my friend Jennifer is actually going to come here. And we're going to meet her. Maybe we'll just sit
Right.
her down in the chair and talk to her real quick.
Let's do it.
Yeah. But anyway, so seriously, give us some advice about that. Like from a mental health perspective,
About online dating in general?
just dating in general. You have a list, right? Like, you know what you want.
I don't anymore. I mean, I know what I want. I'm sorry. I threw away my list though.
Okay. So
Because I realized that my list, because I'm a big believer in the universe is going to bring what I'm supposed to have
okay.
and the person I'm supposed to be with.
Okay.
And I felt like the list was saying no.
It was like pushing back.
It was
Like
very-
control.
Yeah, it was trying to control the universe.
I think, when we first started that, I think in the back of your mind, it was funny because remember when I made my list, I was like, dude, I'm going out with all these people and having a
Yeah. blast.
blast. I make this list and I'm like, fuck, I don't have anybody to go out with anymore, right?
Yeah,
Like,
there's nobody to go out with,
left.
right?
It was like I was a leper, but not literally.
Just a man on a mountain
Yeah,
with
like
no
a man,
women.
by myself, just standing
That's
there.
right.
So,
Going, hello, ladies.
but I do think that you need, like, that's purposeful, right? And then
Right.
maybe you make a list of, like, mine's gratitude, intelligence, right? Those types of things. And then maybe you just put it away, you slide it away.
That's
And that's
basically it. And,
right.
And I know how I want to feel, and I know how I want to feel when I'm with someone, and I know what I want to feel as far as reciprocity. And I'm just trusting my intuition,
So say,
which
say
has been wrong a few times.
Well, you know why? Because you weren't present, though.
I know.
And we talk a lot about, not only about the show, but about our lives. I mean, I think we're pretty good friends. And when we talk about things, that advice that you give back and forth. But that's another thing about dating is the people you talk to. Like, we should talk to Dave and Rob about the relationship because they actually know how to do it, right?
Right.
But
Well, I don't know if they know how to date, but they know how to be married.
Well, yeah,
That's
they know how to
two
have a
different
relationship,
things.
clearly, right?
Two different
and they know
things.
how to have a relationship between the two of them.
I get it.
Right. So,
yes.
but even us, like, I think we have
We
a really
do,
healthy
yes.
relationship. The point I'm trying to make, though, is that the people that you talk to about your life and the people that you have in your life reflect huge on, how you relate, who you are,
Definitely.
that type of stuff. So we reel that back a little bit to who you're talking to about who you're dating, and the advice that you get
Yes.
is critical,
Yes.
right? And you don't always want to be negative about things. You don't always want to be, oh my God, he didn't buy dinner, or he didn't show up on time, or oh, F him. You know what I mean?
Right.
But from a female perspective, what are your expectations? Like what? So you meet somebody, like what's appropriate? Like, when do you exchange numbers? When do you meet somebody? When do you do those things?
I mean, usually you exchange numbers before you meet someone.
Talk on the phone first.
Talk on the
Make
phone
sure they're not
first.
like dun, 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 like that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And depending on how the phone call goes, then maybe
Yeah.
a video call.
Okay.
Have you done that?
No, I'm scared of cameras. I don't fucking video call.
You're scared of cameras.
Yeah.
Have you seen
no,
this room?
I don't know. I just think I'd rather talk to someone on the phone. Like, I want to be in the presence of somebody when I meet them. I'm still old school like that. Like,
Okay.
even with business, I want to meet in person.
Okay.
You shake hands, make a deal, whatever.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it depends on the person who I'm talking to and what they're amenable to. So
Yeah. But like from a female, you're not. I mean, I don't think there's a safety issue really. You go to a public place, meet somebody.
I
like,
don't
hey, what's
know.
up?
I mean, I did talk with a girlfriend who was coming back from the bathroom when she was on a date and saw the guy she was with putting something in her drink, which I was, when I heard that, I thought, I mean, what is this like?
It happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that makes
Who's
sense.
going to roofie someone in 2022? It was like a couple.
You
It was like
drink
a
a
month
lot.
ago.
Yeah.
It's like,
But
and then I was immediately thought, do I have to take my drink to the bathroom if I'm out with somebody? I started rethinking everything.
yeah.
It's just that kind of stuff. I mean, it's, from a safety standpoint, I don't know. I mean, I've had a couple weird
I think that
stalker situations that, there's weird things that happen, and guys don't have to worry about stuff.
Oh, guys have to worry about stalkers. There's clingers. We call them clingers.
Clingers.
Yeah.
Stage 5 clingers?
Yeah,
You
stage
guys
five-
like stage 5 clingers.
No, we don't like stage 5
Come
clingers.
on.
Yeah.
Some guys do.
Yeah. So I was listening to this this podcast. Gosh, I can't remember the other day, and it was saying about how if it wasn't really about lack or anything like that, but it was saying about the difference between needing somebody and loving somebody.
Yes.
And that was interesting, right? Like in the dating process, if you need to have a partner, then that's cool in the beginning, right? Because you meet somebody, you get to hang out with them and all that kind of stuff. But in the end, that's not so good.
Well,
because,
but you shouldn't need.
right?
Nobody should need.
Because in the
someone.
end, it's going to end up like a shit show.
But the idea, if someone, and that's why I read everybody's profile, which I know a lot of people just do pop-up pictures, but I read every word.
I'm just saying, man.
This guy.
Yeah.
I read every word, and if there's anything in there that has a hint of need or desperation or anything, just by word choices,
Yeah.
that's definitely a red flag.
What would those be?
Help me get off this dating app. Some guys say that.
Well, that's kind of funny. I don't know.
I don't know.
Shit, I got to change mine.
But
I'm
there's
just
truth.
kidding.
But there's truth. There's truth.
Should we just pull it up right now
Pull
and
it
just
up.
start looking?
Let's
I
do
mean,
it.
like, what are we going to do? You know?
But there's
like, what
truth
the hell?
in jest, right?
Yeah. No, there totally is. Yeah.
There's truth in jest, which is fine. Make a joke about it. But if that combined with some other things that, just sound desperate, it just,
I
don't
think
know.
pictures matter, right?
Pictures matter.
Like you want to load up a few pictures in there. You want to fill out like what are your best 3 things, or what are you most proud of, or what's important in your life. Those types of
Yeah,
things.
you choose the prompts because obviously the apps are set up with prompts so people don't have to think about how to do it.
Yeah. Then some of them actually do like kind of a personality profile based on when you sign up. You like answer questions and stuff. And I think that's cool. I like that.
Right. Yeah, it's helpful.
Yeah. At least you have somewhat of an idea of who they are. And the other thing too is we go out to fundraisers and things like that, and we meet a lot of people. We don't need to talk about specifics, especially the wink thing, but the funny thing is I know the funny thing is you start from almost ground zero in that kind of perspective. Like you might have an attraction to them or chemistry, but you're at ground zero because you don't really know anything about them.
Sure.
And that's an interesting thing too. So there's all kinds of dynamics going on. Plus, like at a bar, there's alcohol involved, or you might not be, you know what I'm saying? Like in a place where you really want to be talking to somebody, and then there's that old rule that if there's 2 gals out or 3 gals out hanging out together, like that's the girls' night. Like that's not a time to be like, hey, how you doing? You know what I mean? So that's an interesting perspective too, like just how you meet people. We did go to a few of those meetup things, and what'd you think of that?
I think they're good. I think it depends on what the purpose was. One was a Halloween party, which was, that was kind of crazy, but some others were just more casual. I think they're good. And I've actually suggested it to some of my clients.
Yeah. And I think that's a good way to just to kind of get to know somebody. It's super casual. Everybody's there for the same reason, generally, right? Man, you know what's weird is when you said the Halloween party, I remember the guy. This guy was wearing, you guys, I'm no bullshit. This guy was wearing underwear with a penis hanging out of it, and that was it. What? I swear to God, he was
True.
out in Scottsdale, downtown Scottsdale.
Underwear and a dildo. It's true.
Yeah, I was like, you had to be fucking kidding me. It was crazy.
Oh,
And
no,
all the girls were
he
following
also
around.
had on a necktie.
Oh yeah, necktie.
Don't forget, he was formal.
Yeah,
He was formal.
Yeah, he was a formal.
Formal on top,
He was
party on the bottom.
Yeah, I was like,
Yep.
what in the hell is going on here, man? That was
Right?
funny stuff.
Yeah, that was a little much.
Yeah. So anyway, so thanks for that visual. I appreciate that
You
coming back
said
because
it.
it was ingrained in it like burned into my brain, and I can't freaking get it
Can't
out
mind
now.
erase it.
And now it's even burned in more because we brought it up again.
You can thank
Thanks.
yourself.
God dang it. No, but the the meetup things I think are cool.
Yes, I think it's a good idea, especially if you don't want to go to like a singles meetup. They've got the activity ones,
Yeah.
that are specific to activities.
You know, I went to this singles meetup, and we were at Tempe Town Lake, and it was like this thing, like, I don't know, like you paddle a freaking kayak or some shit, like in
The paddle boats?
I swear to God, it was like a 7th grade dance. Like all the girls were over here and all the boys were over here, and we're all like, "Hey, want to get in the kayak with me?" And everybody's like, "No, not really, 'cause we're kind of stuck on the lake then if you're an asshole." You know what I mean? It was
Right.
funny. It was totally not the way to do it.
Sure.
Like maybe you have something first, and then you get on a kayak with somebody you don't know.
Instead of just showing up at the dock.
Yeah, and then you're like, okay, which way, right,
Yeah.
left, you're doing it's
Yeah.
funny. It was actually kind of cool, but I did meet a really cool girl there, and we got along great, and we had a good time, but it was interesting. I'm like, but it was a test of communication, like out of the box.
Sure.
But if you didn't get along, you'd sure shit know it, and within like 3 seconds of leaving the dock, because you freaking flipped the boat over or something, you know what I mean? But it was pretty cool. That was pretty neat. And then they have, game nights and go cook and paint and
Sure.
all that kind of stuff. And that's cool, Another thing is events. It seems like when you go to events, it's a good time. Like I went to like the last Country Thunder or something it was, and camping with my buddies and stuff. And we had a good time. And that was a neat place to meet people and socialize and
Right.
things like that. And even if you're just friends too, I'd like you to focus on that a little bit. Just ask your perspective, because like say you meet somebody and they're a nice person, but there's not chemistry,
Right.
then we should be mature enough and healthy enough to be
Yes.
like, hey, we can be friends.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And that has definitely, I've seen a lot of reactions with that. It's interesting. So it's either the one side, a lot of reactions, but the spectrum is on one
Well, with
side.
54 people, like there should be a pretty broad spectrum
Pretty
of shit.
broad spectrum.
Yeah. Let's hear.
On one side, there are people who say, okay, that's cool. And then there's people who get offended and take it personal, obviously, because it's personal, because it's something about them that I don't like, that I don't want to date them.
It's not saying that.
But it's personal,
Yeah.
right? It's not him. It's not about someone else, right?
Right.
So
You could just say, "Hey, don't feel bad," because the 53 other dudes, I didn't like them either. So it's not like you're the only one. You know what I mean? Just saying. Go on. I'm sorry to interrupt. Like,
just
no,
let
I just.
you know you're not alone.
You know what? I'm gonna stop talking.
So I should change my text message.
Wait,
Okay.
I'm gonna stop
I have to
talking for
remember
like
that.
9.5 seconds. Okay, go.
And then there's people who just don't reply. They just it's
just
like
ghost
they
you.
don't know how to respond to it. Yeah.
Okay, so
But
from
there are some people who like legitimately I would like to keep talking to, and they are cool people. But maybe we had some discussions about books or something like that, and it was interesting, and I liked them, but I didn't like them. But some people can't do that. I mean, you and I have a platonic, awesome relationship, and that's another thing about dating too. Is when people get into dating and they find someone that they actually click with. One of the things that should be on your list is, can you handle me having a platonic friend or several?
well, I think that's
platonic friends?
maturity.
But some women can't, and some men can't, and that sometimes doesn't. They're like, oh yeah, oh no, it's totally cool, and that doesn't come out until later, because when true colors start to show, whether you're a couple months or 6 months down the road or whatever, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, you're jealous.
But you shouldn't. So that's the thing with dating, right? Like you shouldn't have to change who you are. Mm-hmm. And that's
Agreed.
part of the communication. And we talked about jealousy a few times. If that's out of the box, or you see something like that out of the box, then that's a red flag in itself. But they also might be saying like, hey, you're not giving me the attention or whatever.
Right.
And when do you think it's fair to ask people what their expectations are? Like third date, fourth date?
Yeah, after
like, hey-
after there's definite interest,
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
hey, what are your expectations? Like, what does a healthy relationship look like to you?
right?
Or have you had a healthy relationship
Sure.
before? And, like, I think that's good things to talk about, especially if, when I was younger, before I had kids, before I was married, that would have been a great conversation to have. Like, hey, what does marriage look like? And, do you want to have one kid or two kids? And how do you parent? And, how do you relate? And blah, 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 all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And that's sometimes things that I think we forget to do. But that question of expectations is huge. And you have to be in a stable, I don't want to say stable, you have to be in a good place to be able to ask that question. And I think you have
Well,
to be.
you have to be able to receive the answer too, because I think a lot of people put questions out there,
Yeah.
and we're sitting here with our ideal oh, we have our shit together, so we can talk about this sitting here in these chairs, right?
But we don't.
But we
really.
don't.
Yeah,
No,
we're
let's
fucking
be
human
honest.
beings. Like,
No,
give me a break.
exactly.
Yeah, anybody who's
Right.
like, oh yeah, I know what the fuck.
Yeah,
No, you don't.
and you get into any situation, and you're going to have feelings and emotions, and sometimes you have to sit back and process things and whatnot. But I think that what you said about that it's a red flag if somebody's jealous and whatnot. People aren't going to show you that right away.
Not necessarily, but it is something like jealousy. I think stems from other things, like maybe you're not giving them attention that you should, or
that they have a self-worth issue.
Or that they have a self-worth issue, right? Yep. And I think that also breeds into potentially cheating and things like that,
Sure.
right? Because then they'll be like, oh, I'm going to get back or whatever.
Or maybe control, because jealousy sometimes is a cousin of control, and then they're going to be controlling.
But like, we go back into these relationships. Is there a way to? Well, you know what? It's funny because we sit there and we talk about some of your first dates and we have a conversation. I've told you about some of mine, right? Mm-hmm. Like I went out with a girl the other day and she drank quite a bit, right? Super smart lady, mm-hmm. and we went out with a couple of my friends. She doesn't drink quite a bit all the time, but that night she did. Mm-hmm. And she was challenging me about management and da-da-da-da. She worked for like a municipal job and I have, I work in the private sector. And the discussion was more like about just a difference in management styles. You know what I mean? Like mm-hmm. I have a lot of risk in my job. Like if I mess up, I can lose a lot. Like I lose my company or, you know what I'm saying? Whereas like in a municipality, like when I was a firefighter, that wasn't, you get a paycheck no matter what. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like you're going to get paid.
You to do your job.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that's a big difference in like, how you manage and the risk level and how you mitigate that risk. And we had this, she like got in my face and she was arguing with me and I'm like, holy shit, I barely even know you. That's a huge red flag to me.
Red flag.
Yeah. I was like, I think we're just going to be friends now.
Right.
Yeah. But that was, I think I told you about her.
Yes.
But if you're aware and you're healthy and you're stable, mm-hmm. then you can, say, hey, last night was pretty crazy, but I get too, like there's mistakes and stuff,
and
but that's huge out of the box.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But just, people showing their true colors, like you said, hopefully if you're, like I said, focusing on one person or you're interested in one person, then, you'll see those colors quicker mm-hmm. than if you're dating like multiple people.
Yes.
Don't you agree?
I agree. And I think too, and we've talked about this, is taking time after a relationship to yourself and getting to a place of, being healthy and understanding just self-awareness in general and knowing what you want, like you say, which is how you want to feel in a relationship, how you want to feel when you're with someone, that mm-hmm. kind of thing. But then getting into a situation where you do start dating and just really sitting back and having perspective, not like making quick judgments, which mm-hmm. I've done that. And now I'm to the place where I just kind of sit back and, gain perspective, like assess it and figure out what's going on or, and then make a decision. Mm-hmm. But it's the idea of not allowing something to continue if it doesn't feel right, but gaining perspective first and go, was that something about what was going on right there? What was going on with him? Like that kind of a thing. So I just think it's that all encompassing that sometimes we miss mm-hmm. and we make it all about ourselves, and it isn't all about ourselves, but if it's something that doesn't feel right, then that's an intuitive thing, and sometimes it's a definite sign of a red flag. So it's just a whole awareness project, I think.
Mm-hmm. And the other part of that goes back to people's actions say a lot more than their words, almost always.
Don't they?
Which is why I like to meet people in person, right? Like to see how they carry themselves and mm-hmm. see how if they look at you in the eye when they talk to you and things like that. Those mm-hmm. are all important things. So mm-hmm. That human interaction is critical. Right. And I don't think it's hard to do that, right? It's hard to do that in a bar when there's a bunch of noise and you're drinking.
Sure.
It's hard to do that online. But that human interaction is necessary, right, to build the relationship. Which brings me to the next thing. The communication in the beginning of a relationship, I think, should be more on the phone than it should be texting. What are your thoughts?
I think it's personal for everyone. Because some people might have a job where it's 10 hours a day and they're busy and they can't talk on the phone.
Right.
Or, just depending on what they do. Maybe they're a nurse or in medical field and they can't be on their phone at all and they're barely texting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then some people would perceive that as non-communication or as not being important, but really it's just the restrictions of what their environment is during that day.
Right.
So I think it's just a lot of things, and again, that's about communication. Hey, just to let you know, this is what it's like for me during the day, kind mm-hmm. of a thing, right? or learning patterns or whatnot.
Or asking people, too, like what their love language is. Like some people like words of affirmation. And
Sure.
how many are there? 5 or 10?
5.
5? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about that in another show. But like asking people what their expectations are. Or, hey,
Sure.
do you like flowers? Or,
Mm-hmm.
things like that, right? Like do guys even get flowers anymore?
I got some this weekend.
You did? On the first date?
No.
Second date?
No.
Whoa. This is serious. Well, who's this guy? No, you can't say his name. Sorry. We don't want to do that. But it's serious. So you went out on how many? 4 dates?
3.
3 dates and you got flowers on the third date?
Uh-huh.
Oh, he likes you. That's cool.
Oh my gosh.
Good for you. Were they red roses or what?
No.
What were they? Like cupids or not cupids? What do they call them? Tulips?
Tulips.
Oh, they were tulips. Ooh. I wonder what that means.
I don't know.
It means something. We can look it up if you want.
Go ahead.
Like it does, because every flower means something. Like a yellow
Bust
rose is
open
like
that
healing
book.
and shit. Like we're to be friends, and like a red one's like, hey baby, how you doing?
Pink
And then,
one's friends.
yeah, and then like
yellows.
tulips means something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't know, something freaking weird.
Right.
Who knows? Like I don't know.
We'll find out.
Yeah, you know what we should do? We should have Cactus Flower on here and bring him in here and be like, hey,
That's
what
a
all the
good
flowers
idea.
mean?
Yeah, that's
And then we'll make a
great
list
idea.
and we'll color code it. Like
I like it.
Like you kind of like him, and then like you're super in love. You
I
know what
like
I mean?
it.
Yeah.
I like
or
it.
Or you messed up. Like we'd probably be in here. Yeah.
The guilt flowers?
Yeah. Like what flower do you get for a girl when you mess up?
I mean, I would think that you go straight for red roses.
Just
I
go
don't
for
know.
red roses. Just
Yeah.
go like for the bigs.
Definitely.
Like just
Maybe
hit it
a
out of the
couple
park.
dozen.
Yeah, you go for the home run deal.
Couple
Yeah.
dozen.
Like how many dozens? Like 3 or 4? It depends on what you do,
2.
I guess. Yeah.
2.
Yeah. Like Rob's. You know what I mean? You got to hear it, right? You got to know.
2 with some chocolate and maybe a hot latte. I
All
don't
right.
know.
All right. So before we shut this one down,
Yes.
just like, I don't know, what do we do? 3 recommendations to dating, or like 3 guidelines, or like what would you say? Because let's be honest. I mean, I'm not going to say for all guys, but I mean, give me a break. I mean, we're dumbasses, right? Like we're pretty simple. Women are freaking way more to deal with, right? For some people.
I don't know about that.
Really, you think? You think guys are higher maintenance than women?
I
Well,
think
clearly you do, because you're a woman. You don't date women.
this is true. I only know who I am, and
Right,
I don't know.
right.
I
Okay,
guess-
so in your experience.
I don't know. I think communication is number 1.
Okay, communication, check.
Don't you think?
I can write them down. But yeah, no, I totally do.
Effort is number 2,
Okay, communication, effort.
and follow up. Like
What
no
does that
matter
even
what you're
mean?
doing is follow up. Like
Like-
if you're putting in your effort and you are acting on something, then there's always another action after that, or another something after that if you're interested.
Okay, give me an example. Because I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Well, I mean, you're not just going to go on a date, you like someone,
Right.
and then not do anything. You're going to follow up.
Yeah. Like, hey, how you doing? Or like, I had a great time with you. Would you like to go out again or something, right?
Yeah, that's follow up. And
Okay.
then with that, there's going to be follow up. You're going to make an effort.
Yeah.
So it's a constant loop of communication and effort
And making an effort,
follow-up.
making plans and all that
Communication,
kind of stuff.
effort, follow up. Yeah.
Huge. Communication, effort, follow up.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's not that hard.
I like it. Communication, effort, follow up. I can remember that.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, now you're on, like, everybody can watch that. Now we're all going to be successful at dating. There's not going to be any single people anymore.
All the apps are going to shut down.
Yeah. Done. It'll be like just one big giant smoke. It was like, oh, we're out of business because of Shelly. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching the Scott Freymuller and Shelly Netco. And that's it for today. We appreciate it. Thanks.